Emmanuel, can you speak now?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
Okay.
Okay, so hello. Yeah, so are you ready? Then
Yeah,
I'm going
okay.
to I'm going to start a little bit. So welcome everyone to the first webinar series of iClimateBuild. Today we are going to listen to the presentation on the topic of innovative business models in the building industry. And we will record the video. I think you have been informed before you enter the room. And today we are honored to have Emmanuel Sofianopoulos as our invited speaker. He's a material engineer with postgraduate studies in advanced ceramics and as certified project manager. Since 1988, he has been managing multinational in R&D, dealing with cutting-edge materials. He has sound knowledge of the development of entrepreneurial policy and finance mechanism. Since 2018, he is an expert in EBRD, coordinating the team of international advisor on technology projects. Now he is one of our partner in iClimateBuild. He's working in OSM. So please welcome Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you, Nate. I'll start sharing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Just some housekeeping rules first. What we discussed with Nate is that in order also to make it more interactive or interesting, considering also that it's Friday afternoon, you can interrupt if you want to ask something. It's going to be a very brief, let's say, introduction to business modeling and in the construction, the overview of the construction sector industry. It's a huge subject, right? Could be a university course on its own. So we'll just go quickly through many concepts. So if you want to ask anything, please interrupt, and also that will make more, let's say, easier for us to make it more interactive. Okay. Some housekeeping rules. If you want to speak, turn on. If you can, turn on your camera. If you have a good internet connection, mute yourself when you're not speaking. If you want also to present anything, share your screen and ask questions at a time raising your hand. Nate will coordinate the discussion. Okay, thank you. The contents of the presentation will be an introduction to iClimateBuild project, which is a host of this workshop. Then introduction to business modeling, what is business modeling and why is important, why is it useful. Then an overview of the construction sector, construction industry, globally and more in detail for the European Union. Then I will introduce you to some traditional business models in the construction sector, what's been typically used practically. Some innovative business models, not only for the construction sector, some introduction, let's say, to business modeling and why business modeling is important. Then I will present some innovative business models. What are the benefits of them? I will show you some case studies specific for the construction sector, and then some conclusions. Between sections, as I said, we'll make a brief stop so you can, if anybody wants, can ask questions. Just a quick overview of iClimateBuild. Its full title is Functional and Advanced Insulating and Energy Harvesting Storage Materials Across Climate Adaptive Building Envelopes. iClimateBuild is the acronym, funded by the European Union under this identifier, an MVP, for Foundations for Tomorrow's Industry, and the topic was Open Innovation Test Beds for Materials for Building Envelopes. 27 participants, quite a few, 4 years duration, ending in February of 2025, funding of 15 million euros for this 4 years period and the 27 partners. And it's been coordinated by the National Technical University of Athens and Professor Haritidis, who's the director of R Nano Lab. 27 partners, quite a few, all around Europe from 14 European countries. 16 of them are research organizations and 11 are SMEs, small and medium enterprises, which have a direct, let's say, benefit from the relevance to the industrial sector. All complementary between them, I mean, different parties doing different tasks in order to reach the common objective. The concept of a clima-build is to validate technology through living and sustainability through living laboratories. That is to test materials performance verification under different climates for highly promising applications in energy and resource-efficient buildings. To influence standards, testing protocols and regulations in the construction industry. Create advanced characterization, check advanced characterization tools and mechanisms through different pilot lines and multi-scale simulations and virtual performance analysis, mainly for materials components for the whole building and simulations. The target is to go to zero energy buildings, right, using passive or active technologies. Passive technologies by reducing energy demand through all advanced materials for thermal insulation. You can see some ideas of materials here, right? And through active technologies by covering remaining energy needs, PCM-based active ventilation systems or photovoltaic modules or thermoelectric systems or insulated glazing units or indoor air quality and well-being. So either reducing energy demand or covering energy demand. This is also important for existing buildings, not new construction. The main goal is to support the relation of research results to innovation, especially for small high-tech firms that they don't have on their own the infrastructure to scale up, so support pilot license infrastructure for small companies, in order to support them in rising the technological complexity by providing a single entry point for necessary infrastructures and tools to test, validate, and upscale their solutions. Targets are developing materials for improved thermal and functional performance, building envelope solutions, design and assembly of technical systems, fully customizable, flexible, modular, and demountable aesthetic designs, monitoring and characterization strategies to support decision-making, fully monitoring living labs and non-residential and non-zero energy buildings, disseminating exploitation activities like the outreach to show what we're doing in the project. Target 5 is to refine and expedite access to financing solutions, again for small companies with limited resources in order to reinforce their competitiveness and extroversion. This is translated to 6 building blocks in 3 project phases. Phase 1, in the first 2 years, is to set up the structural and operational aspects by creating the building blocks while developing and checking internal and external interactions. Validate the ecosystem. The second period, second phase, analyzing and evaluation and validate materials, the pilot line and the test cases, and creating an open call to the ecosystem with the established single entry points. And phase 3 is the outreach to show what we're doing, the clustering, dissemination, and exploitation activities. Some innovation highlights of the project. Okay, materials as a service platform. It's a customer-oriented configuration capability to translate user needs to adapt workflows. This is done through 9 pilot lines, 7 test cases, 5 demonstrator sites in 4 different countries, in Spain, Amposta and Manresa, in Torino in Italy, in Dresden in Germany, and in Norway in Trondheim. And also we'll have an open call on validation to technological solutions for upscaling and supporting SMEs, small and medium enterprises. Key milestones for success is the platform, to create the platform, define the workflow from materials passing through the cases to the living labs, have a comprehensive test case of characterization, supporting in quality testing, operating as a pilot line infrastructure for small cases, for small companies to test and validate their technological solutions, and operating at the end as a living laboratory. Impact on materials, buildings, and business and economy. And finally, target to create new jobs and economic growth for small companies and eventually in Europe. For materials, to optimize materials production via digitalization, artificial intelligence, and data analytics, increase quality of products, verify as much fast as possible. We've promised 30% faster verification of materials and system performance, development and validate reliable material models, and full traceability across the entire value chain of materials. For the buildings, to accelerate buildings refurbishment rate, increase well-being of building occupants, tackle energy efficiency goals, durable, reusable, recyclable, easy to install, operate, and maintain solutions, and waste management. Business and economy, produce and final material cost production and cost reduction in production and materials, increase industrial productivity, closer to market solutions adaptable to final conditions and consumer needs, decrease payback time for retrofitting solutions, support transitions to circular economy, and also provide easy and open access to industrial partners for upscaling concepts related to materials for building envelopes. Now, an overview of the construction sector. Globally, the sector in 2022, last year, which have the most recent data, the market size is the value of almost 13 trillion US dollars, right? This is quite huge. The market is further estimated to grow at a compound annual growth rate of 6.5% until 2028, going to a value around nearly 19 trillion US dollars. And this is strongly supported by superpower construction markets in construction in China, United States, and India. Population is growing rapidly, especially in China and India. India population has surpassed China's recently. So the demand for buildings is increasing rapidly. And also the green economy is providing more and more needs for in the construction industry through renovations and energy savings. Now, for the EU economy, the sector provides 18 million direct jobs and opportunities. It contributes to about 9% of the gross domestic product of the European Union. Again, it's really huge. New jobs, economic growth, and solutions for social, climate, and energy challenges. Faced by the construction industry from a European Union's perspective, it's a bit different because in Europe we have most buildings are quite old. There are than globally, right? There are buildings since the 17th century, and the perspective of the European Union is to stimulate demand, improve efficiency in existing buildings and renovations, because they have the highest potential to stimulate demand in Europe. Not too many new buildings like in China or even Asian countries or India, but more on renovations and restructuring. Training is another huge field and opportunity for experienced partners and companies in the construction sector to improve specialized training and make the sector more attractive, in particular for blue-collar workers, technical colleges, and universities. And need for innovation, to more active uptake of new technologies. Now, for energy efficiency and climate change, buildings account for the largest share of total EU final energy consumption. Again, huge, 40% of European Union energy consumption is produced by constructions, and 35% of all greenhouse emissions is produced again by construction. Challenges and problems faced by the construction industry. You can see on the graph on the right, the green line is the spending in construction, while the orange line is the employment forecast. You see, they're not, the gap is increasing as time goes by. And this is a real problem. You can see that 43%, for example, in France, they have 43% of companies report shortages in the building activity. In Japan, this is 60% experiencing labor shortages. In Germany, this is 50% of the companies report that they will need, they cannot find workers. In the UK, the 2023-22, they had 44,000 vacancies in the construction sector. In the USA, they need, for 2023, they estimate that they need about more than 500,000 workers in order to meet expected demand. And another big problem is that 1 in 4 construction workers is older than 55 years old. And there aren't enough younger workers to replace them. And in this case, migration is not helpful because, as we've seen, China and India are also in big demand of construction workers because there are huge construction projects there. So migration could not solve the problem of construction workers. So this is a labor force is a big problem for the construction industry. And it also is a limiting factor for building activity. And another problem concerned with labor is that 25% globally of the accidents, workmen accidents, are in the construction sector again. This is a sector that has the most health accidents, basic accidents in at work. Another big problem for the construction industry is expenses, cost. From the Project Management Institute, the estimate is that 73% of construction projects go over budget. Again, here is a bit of tricky situation because another saying is that most projects are underestimating in the beginning cost in order to get the job, especially for public buildings or procurements or in competitions. They make a low estimate, companies, in order to get the project, and then they realize or they figure out that the cost is really much higher than they estimated, but they do that to get the job. In actual terms, the problems are that they estimate the inaccurate project estimation, or they have serious project design errors from the beginning of the design of the building. They're not planning for change orders during the construction. They get the difficulties and things that cannot be done, so you need to change, but they have not estimated the planning for changes. I'm telling all this now because all these factors affect business modeling, how you create, let's say, your business model. Another factor for increasing costs in the construction sector is the administration errors, poor site management during implementation, during construction, and finally, not hiring the right teams. These are some major few problems that are causing construction costs to go higher than planned. Another major challenge is sustainability. As we've seen before, 40% of energy consumption in the European Union, at least, which is the count that is coming from buildings, right? So it's energy consumption, use of materials, equipment, and energy required to operate buildings, waste management debris from building sites, demolition and renovation projects. So during construction and renovation, we have lots of waste. Water consumption, again, for mixing concrete, dust suppression, cleaning. Material sourcing, very different types of materials used for constructions or renovations, timber, sand, gravel, stone. And the sourcing and extraction of these resources can have significant impacts on the environment, including deforestation, soil erosion, and habitat destruction. And finally, carbon emissions through energy consumed during the construction and operation of buildings. These are all sustainability concerns directly connected to construction and buildings. Any questions so far? I talked about the project, the ClimaBuild, and the construction sector globally and its concerns. Okay. I'm continuing with business modeling, and which is our actual theme for today. Here's a quote by Chess Bro, who's a guru of open innovation, actually saying that technology is a key aspect for businesses and innovation, but there are non-technological factors that are very important for open innovation, like product design, new market, customer intimacy, and business model innovation. What is a business model? Definition from Investopedia. It is a plan implemented by a company to generate revenue and make a profit from operations. Simple term, what is the business model? Okay, in a comic strip, like as a joke mainly, for planning, because too much planning, we plan for plans. We need a plan for making our plan. We need a plan, the plans. Anyway, this is just making the fun of plan, but planning is very important. And business modeling. And the alternative definition to business modeling is that it's a plan to escape competition and win the market, to go ahead of competitors. Very quickly, what is a business model? Describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. And it consists of 9 basic building blocks. The customer segments, this is the most important. Everything else, all the rest 8 segments of the business model, or the building block of the business model, are connected to the customers. Who are you creating value for? What are your most important customers? Why are you doing what you're doing? For your customers. Next building block is the value proposition, your value proposition. What value do you deliver to the customer, against the customer? Which one of the customer problems are you solving? What needs of the customers are you satisfying? What products and services are you offering for each customer segment? Again, it's important to differentiate on which are your customers. Through which channels do you reach your customer segments? How do you reach them now? And how you integrate your channel? Which one works best? Which ones are most cost efficient? And how are you integrating them with your customer routines? Channels to reach your customers. These are all thoughts how to consider when you create your business model. What type of relationship does each of your customer segments expect to establish and maintain with them? Which ones do you already have now? What type of relationship do you already have with your customers? How costly are they? How are they integrated with the rest of the business model? Revenue streams. Again, if you don't have a revenue, profit, there's no point of the company. What value are your customers really willing to pay? For what do they currently pay? How are they currently paying? How? How would they prefer to pay? How much does each revenue stream contribute to the overall revenues of the company? What are the key resources that your value proposition requires? Your distribution channels, your customer relationships, your revenue streams, key resources. What are the key resources in order to operate and have revenue and respond to your customers? Through which key activities? Again, key activities for the distribution, for customers, for revenue streams. And who are your key partners? Who are your key suppliers? Which key resources are you required from your partners? Which key activities do partners perform? What are the most important costs inherent in your business model? Which key resources are most expensive? Which key activities are most expensive? These are all the components of a business model. In order to create a business model, these are all considerations and thoughts you have to be aware of. Customers, value proposition, activities, partners, structure, resources, through which channels deliver your value, and revenue streams. Now, any questions on business modeling? At least the theory. Some traditional business models in construction industry you see here. The more simple one is the design, bid, build. This is for separate entities. For design, here we have separate entities for design and construction phases. The architect designs and the different, let's say, contractors construct the different parts of a building. And another business model is the construction management at risk, mainly used for complex projects, where the construction manager oversees the project from its early stages to completion. It's one responsible for the whole project. And the design build model, where the contractor is responsible for managing the project from start to finish, including also design, engineering, procurement, construction, and commissioning activities for the area. This is where stakeholders or the beneficiaries are many, so they contract one entity for all the processes. These are the traditional business models in constructions. Some ideas on unique and non-traditional business models, just to give you examples and ideas. These are not directly related to the construction sectors, but for those who want to produce their business model, could give ideas. The basic model is to earn a profit by directly selling a product or service for more than it costs to produce or provide. So how to create something, sell it more than it costs, make profit. But there are many successful businesses that don't directly sell anything. For example, they act as brokers for other service providers, like contractors, like brokers, earn money by saving their customers money on services that they don't directly provide, such as power generation, or staying in business while putting the welfare of people and the planet ahead of the profit motive. I'll show you examples later to show what you mean. For example, biggest employer, well, not employer, I would say engager. It's globally is Wikipedia. It has around 300 employees, but it has 63 million users globally, not users, the people that spend much of their time in developing Wikipedia. And this is their business model. They only pay for 300, but they engage somehow 63 million people for free, volunteers. Business model. Game changes in this generation in order to, let's say, that new business models use them. Internet of Things. artificial intelligence in construction and buildings, robotics, cloud. These are all concepts that they have to interfere in the business model, either you want it or not, addressing many of the challenges we saw before, like costs and the shortage of people. And very, very briefly, again, we'll show how they're going to do this in some case studies at the end of the presentation. Again, I will continue with some idea of business models. The long tail business model. This is used for as an example for software applications, where the red part you have profit in the beginning very quickly, but for a very short period of time. This is mainly for software applications for 1 to 3 years, very, very hot, sell a lot, but then a new application is coming and they stop selling, they die. While there are products which sell for many years on the long term, and profitability could be much more in the long term for that. An example of that, it could be Amazon. Can I read the quote again? This is a joke. It's explaining the long tail to a colleague from John Peterson, from an Amazon employee, because the most profitable, let's say, product of Amazon is selling books. Amazon started by selling books, and still the most profitable product process service is again to sell books. And also Netflix. Actually, streaming, Netflix is not making, I think streaming is not making it profit at all. I think it's losing money from streaming. The profitable part of Netflix, it's amazing, but it's selling DVDs. They figure out that still are very large demand of people that they want DVDs by email. So that's the most, let's say, profitable part, selling DVDs by surface mail. Business model. A typical business model is the freemium. We are all aware of that. It's mainly used for software, where you're free, maybe supported by ads, maybe not. Acquire a lot of customers very efficiently through the word of mouth, referral networks, organic search, social media, and then you give some for free, but then you offer premium price, value-added services, or an enhanced version of your service to your customer base paying. Some examples of freemium models is Pandora, LinkedIn, Flickr. Virtual goods, you don't sell anything, it's virtual, like Facebook or Zynga is a game platform. The red circles here is that the third year, the first 2 years, Facebook were making losses, and the third year it started making profit. Actually, it's $90 million profit. Yes, and another non, let's say, it could be innovative but traditional at the same time, non-tech innovative business model. IKEA. Someone figured out that some people like to make their own furniture, to buy the components like Lego bricks, put them together, and build their own furniture. And they are happy about that. So he introduced IKEA, co-opted customers to provide key activities and improve the value proposition. There are some people that like to do that, to carry their own in boxes, their furniture in boxes, and also connecting them. Other business models, not traditional. It's let's say the benefit corporation that gives equal weight to social, environmental, and financial impacts of their activities. There's a triple bottom line. For example, Ben & Jerry, for every ice cream you buy, they give $1 to African charities in Africa for children. or power purchase agreements, where they provide long-term relationships, typically 15 to 20 years, and reduce the building's owner reliance on the local energy grid. Energy brokers, or the sharing economy, peer economy. Uber, started by car owners looking to have an extra income, they use their cars as taxis. TV lets you share ownership opts for tickets, or Skillshare connects people who want to learn a new skill, and they exchange, let's say, training skills to each other. Other business models, not traditional. And more or less, during the previous slides, I talked about these disruptive business models, the freemium, the subscription, free offerings, marketplace model, sharing economy, the user experience, the pyramid model, the ecosystem, create your own ecosystem like Apple. They have their own ecosystem. They communicate perfectly their products between them. So you have to buy AirPods and the iPhone and the iPods and blah, blah, blah. So you have to be in this ecosystem. And the on-demand model, where you create on demand, you don't stock, you don't have any warehouses, you just create, produce on demand. For each of these, there's a report. If you want, you can see my email at the end of the presentation. Send me an email and I could send you more details if whoever wants. Okay, now the innovative business models for the construction industry. Prefabrication is a business model that involves constructing building parts off-site and then assembling them on-site. It is an innovative business model that is gradually gaining popularity because of its efficiency and time-saving advantages. Right? You have the prefabricated components, and this is more or less what you're testing in Climabuild, building envelopes. The design build. This business model involves a single entity that is responsible for both design and construction, and is innovative that minimizes risks associated with traditional construction, such as communication breakdown between the architect and the contractors and the owner of the building or the construction. Integrated project delivery. It's a collaborative approach that involves all stakeholders, including owners, designers, and contractors, in a single contract and sharing risk and rewards. This model fosters teamwork, which results in better project outcomes and increased efficiency. Public-private partnerships is a model in which a private entity partners with a public agency to finance, design, build, operate, and maintain the infrastructure projects, mainly for huge infrastructure projects or roads, bridges, etc. Modular construction. This business model is similar to prefabrication in that modular construction involves building off-site and then assembling on-site. And modular construction takes it one step further by building complete modules and then connecting them on-site to form the structure, including electricity circuits or water lines or whatever optical fibers in the building envelope, the modular construction, and just plug in the components of the construction. And the building information modeling, it's a digital tool that enables architects, engineers, and contractors to collaborate on a virtual model of a building, improving efficiency and reducing errors, like have the building virtually before you start the construction. Any questions here? Also, if I'm going too fast, let me know. Okay. Benefits of innovative business models. Again, it's obvious, the cost savings help to reduce construction costs by increasing efficiency, reducing waste, and streamlining processes. For example, adopting lean construction methods can help to minimize waste, reduce rework, and optimize resources. Improve project outcomes by improving collaboration, reducing risk, enhancing communication, For example, using building information modeling can help to improve project coordination, reduce errors, and improve the quality of construction. Reduction of waste, optimizing the use of resources, reducing rework, and minimizing material waste. For example, using prefabrication techniques can help to minimize waste by producing building components off-site in a controlled environment. Enhance sustainability, reduces environmental impact of construction, for example, using green building materials and techniques, implement energy efficient systems and adopting sustainable waste management practices, helps to reduce the environmental impact of constructions and renovations, and finally improve safety. As I said, 35% of work accidents globally are in the construction sector, that provides 8% of the GDP of gross domestic products globally. So it's double the impact of accidents. So safety is important. New business models should also take into consideration this safety aspect, reducing risks, enhancing communication, and improving collaboration. For example, using virtual reality simulations helps to identify potential safety hazards and improve workers' training. Training is very important in any business model. Okay, any questions before we go to some case studies?
So you can ask the question via the chat in Q&A or raise your hand and then if you would like to talk. Yeah. Is there anybody?
Can I share also the voice? Can you see YouTube?
No, not yet.
Let me see, but I'm not sure if you can share.
Now we see the video. Yeah.
Okay, but no sound, eh?
No.
But okay, it doesn't matter what. The main point here is that they built a 57-story building in 19 days. They built 3 stories of the building of the skyscraper in every day. Every day they had 3 buildings. How they did it is, I mean, they built in 19 days, but the planning took more than 8 months in order everything to be on time, because also later you will see trucks bringing the envelopes, the building envelopes. So everything had to be in perfect timing. They had to, let's say, stop traffic around the building in order to start building and move the components. So actually it's a planning project, not a construction project, a huge planning. Here you see it in fast forward. It's a case study of efficiency and speed of building. Okay. Okay, I will continue with another case study. Now you see the presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, okay, not a case study. It's just some words on additive manufacturing in construction. Very popular technology. and it's more and more incorporated to construction industry, 3D printing, creating not only the materials, but they start creating the whole buildings, and also in quite complicated shapes. You can see here a very complicated shape made out of concrete, or here. So great materials needed for project, but also start creating construction with 3D printing. And this is important because you print with exact measurements, standardized dimensions that you want from the building. This is cost effective. You don't have excess and waste, and it's very strict according to what you specify. Okay, I think this is the most advanced and important, let's say, technology used as a model for the construction industry, the collective robotic construction. That's the future. I'm not sure it already, I didn't find any buildings or innovations built through this technology. It's safe, inexpensive, and sustainable. It embodies autonomous multi-robot systems in a shared environment according to high-level user-specific goals. And collective robotic construction integrates architectural design, construction process, mechanisms, and control to achieve scalability and adaptability. Let's also have a look at this video. Um, yes. You can you see the video now?
No.
No. Wait. Also, how to share my sound. Okay, but you can read the subtitles. Now you can see the video, right?
Yes.
Okay. It's actually too many robots, too many types of robots and automations and technologies that cooperate. Collective robotic construction. Mm. Mm. It's biomimetic. We learn from termites and beavers. Okay. Any questions on that? So that's the future of construction, collective robotic construction. And as we see, it also addresses the challenge and the problem of labor force, difficulty to get construction workers. Okay, I'm getting to conclusions. Technology innovation are transforming the building industry. New business models are emerging to meet the demands of the modern day building industry. And what we just saw, the business models are just a few examples of how the building industry is evolving. Smart technologies reduce cost and speed up project schedules by producing less waste, minimizing the use of material resources, increase accuracy, and free up labor for other tasks. From drones that help inspectors collect important data to wireless concrete maturity sensors. As technology continues to advance, the presence of robots on job sites will increase. Construction sites are already seeing robots that effectively complete repetitive tasks such as bricklaying and rebar tying, as they can do so quicker and more accurately than humans without needing breaks. But even more exciting advances are being made, such as 3D printing robots, the Spot Mini, which can autonomously navigate and survey construction sites. Autonomous heavy equipment is being used for excavation, grading, site work as well. These tasks will require some human supervision, but it's safe to predict that the robots of the future will be able to complete more complex tasks independently. Okay, more or less that's it. Um, if you want to ask any questions or discuss about anything, here you can see my emails, ask for any part of the presentation or the links to the business models. Yet we finished quite
So,
earlier because we had no questions.
yeah. Do you have any question from the audience?
Don't see anything also on the chat, right?
No, I don't see
Okay.
any question coming up. No.
It doesn't matter because it's a Friday afternoon, so we can go earlier for a weekend.
That could be possible.
Yes.
Uh,
And anyway, anybody who wants can send me an email with any questions or I didn't want to make it too much theoretical and too long
yeah.
because Friday afternoon also.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
More or less, I see
so
quite a
if
few
if
partners
you
are.
yeah, if you don't have any questions, so before we leave, I would like to promote also our next webinar series. So yeah, this would be our next seminar webinar series. Yeah, so the next one, it will be on the topic of fiber reinforced concrete, and it will be held on Wednesday, 28th of June, at 10 to 11:30 European Central European time, and we have the invited speakers from HTWK and Technic University at Dresden. And if you want to register or like find out for more information, so you can follow us on iclimabuild.eu, and we have a social media platform on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I hope to see you all uh, in the next webinar series, and we will have more topics during this year. So please keep an eye on our activity and event. Yes.
Thank you very much, Nate.
And thank you to you a lot,
Thank
Emmanuel, for
you.
your
Thank you.
presentation. Yeah, and again, if you have any question regarding to the topic, so send an email to Emmanuel directly. Yes.
Okay, I hope you found it interesting and useful.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Have a nice weekend then, everybody.
Okay. Have a
Okay,
nice
thank you
weekend,
again, Nate.
everyone. Thank you very much.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.